Hi everybody, my name is Helena.
And I'm Kelly.
And we are Speaker Insight, where we help speakers, authors and coaches to build a business on your terms. And yeah, slightly different timing. So we're not entirely sure exactly how many of you might be joining us. So you all know the drill. Hashtag replay if you are joining us on the replay. And remember, you can still ask us questions. You can tag Julie, you can tag Kelly, you can tag me. And we will answer your questions, even if you're watching it 24 hours, 48 hours, or 17 weeks later. So we don't mind at all, which is really good. So we'll say hi to Julie in a moment. For now, we're just going to let some of you actually arrive. Two of you are actually here because it is a slightly later time. So we'll see just what shows up for you. We're going to start with a little bit of buzz in our business. So the two of you who are live with us at the moment, what's the buzz in your business? What's intriguing, exciting, adventurous stuff is going on in your business at the moment? But for us,
well, it's half term, right? So I'm on a bit of a juggling kids and everything else whilst juggling work, which I'm sure if you're in that same situation, just put yes in the comments and then you can share my pain.
Yes, and I'm in Joyland. And the reason I'm in Joyland is because I've been doing this to Kelly for quite some time around Kelly, Christmas. Kelly, and Christmas.
I say we can't say the C word until after Halloween.
And I say Kelly, Christmas, because I'm the one that gets to organize stuff. And so I'm finally at the point where we've actually had the Christmas conversation, and we've been looking at organizing the awards for the Christmas party, where it's going to be, and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm done with saying that now. You can see the face on it, which is hilarious. So Julie, put us out of our misery. I'll ask you who you are in a moment, but what's the buzz in your business?
Oh, the buzz in my business is that it is conference and convention season in America. So it is my crisis today, and maybe some of the listeners will recognize this. My crisis today is that I haven't packed for my next set of trips, but I have to do laundry today. So what that means is that I'm having to go through my closet and go, might want to wear that, don't wear it today. Might want to wear that, don't wear it today.
And so you didn't join us in your pajamas.
I know, right? So I was like, okay, I'm not going to pack this gray sweater. That's the only thing I'm sure of at the moment. So yeah, no, I'm getting ready. I've got between now and December, I probably have about 10 trips.
Wow. Are they all in the States, or are you coming back?
These are all in the yes, they're all in the States. I am going farther, but that's, I guess, in January. I had to think about that for a minute. Like, I've got a great event coming up in Puerto Rico. So that's Puerto Rico in January.
You were just in London as well, weren't you?
I was just in London. Yeah. Yep. I was just in London. And then I've got some great destinations coming up, like Phoenix, Arizona. I'm off to Monterey, California in a couple of weeks. I'm in Nashville. Yeah. I fly out to Nashville tomorrow, and then to New York City for a corporate event. And then, hold on, I'm looking at my calendar. Ooh, Branson, Missouri is on the list. Let's see, where else? Monterey, I've already said. Nashville again. Colorado Springs, San Antonio. Yeah, it's a big list.
I know a lot of our listeners are going to be like, yeah, I want a book schedule like that.
That's right. It's like,
yay! Yes, it does. I've decided that I'm going to start working on a new plan where I have there's an app where you can plan out your outfits, and then it will generate packing lists for you. Whatever you want to know, there's an app for it. Just ask me. I love it.
Daisy's one of our, she's a stylist for speakers. We need to tell her about that app.
Yeah, completely. I mean, how simple and easy, because I love a checklist, right? I love a checklist, and that just makes it so easy. So yeah. So
and one of our listeners, Kieran, he's saying that he's going through rebranding at the moment. It's going slow, but it's going.
But it's still moving. Movement is progress, and that's a really good thing. So let me introduce you a little, or rather let you introduce yourself. So you are a professional speaker. So would you please tell us, what do you speak on, and how did you come to be an expert in the audiovisual world?
Sure. So I speak in the area of proactive problem solving and innovation. So, little big bangs. So it's all about how do you think differently? How do you find opportunities? And then how do you solve those problems, whether it's in corporate or in associations, whatever that might be.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of there's 7 skills that we really talk about when it comes to being a proactive problem solver and an innovative thinker. We talk about it as unlocking innovation.
Nice.
So innovation is the end result. So what are the skills and the mindset that we have to have in order to be innovators? And it's all under this package of think like an inventor.
Nice.
And so how did I get to be an expert in audiovisual? Well, it was because there was a problem and I decided to proactively solve that problem. And that was a problem that I had long before I became a professional speaker. So I've always been a hacker and a creator and a prototyper, and I have a shoebox of ideas and prototypes. And every time something bothers me, I just go, do you know what? I'm going to figure out a way to fix that.
Love people like you.
We do.
Fundamentally lazy. So that means that there's bound to be a better, simpler, faster way. I just have to find it. And if I can't find it, then I create it.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
I love that. So
I created a microphone. That was how that started.
And the speakers that we work with, whether it's in my agency or whether it's with Speaker Insight, I know that the people that are actively speaking will know about these problems with microphones, but there are going to be some people in our network who haven't started speaking yet. So I think it's great. This is why we wanted to do this live with you.
Yeah.
So you can educate them about some of the problems beforehand, rather than when they're on stage. And one of the things that we really encourage speakers to do is to get as much footage as possible of them on stage, because they need the footage for show reels, they need it for publicity, for demonstration, they need it for feedback so they can see their performance.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about what the problems that our speakers or you're aware of that they have when they're recording footage.
Well, I think there's a couple of primary problems that they have. The first one is that at the very fundamental level, they panic.
Right.
So they just panic and they go, I don't know, I can't manage it. I can't juggle one more thing. I can't worry about that. Especially, I think, when we are early in our speaking careers, we just can't even wrap our head around it. So part of it, and then that's one, I can give you like a list of problems. The second one is we don't like ourselves on video.
Julie, when someone's just like, they've got their keynote in their head and they're repeating their opening lines so they don't mess up, they want to make sure they don't trip up the stairs as they go. The last thing they want to be doing is thinking about tech. Yeah. Especially as we know our avatar normally hates tech.
They're terrified
of tech, right?
Yeah, I totally get it. I get it. And that's part of the reason why, kind of having a really clear system helps. Having we were just talking about, right? Where's the app that tells me what to pack? Well, if I don't have something that tells me what to pack, I'm going to flounder around and stare in my closet for the next 4 hours and go, I don't know, am I going to wear that? Am I going to wear that? Yeah. So much better if you go, right, this is my cheat sheet for doing a recording. Yeah. And on this cheat sheet, it says, pack a tripod, pack my phone, make sure that I've got enough memory, make sure I've got my apps ready, make sure I've got my microphone, whatever it is.
And that is really simple, right? You literally press the button,
tick,
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And once you've done it, and part of it is recognizing that there is a knowledge curve, right? A comfort and knowledge curve, right? You have to get to where you have this conscious competence initially, and that's a bit painful, right? As you kind of like, oh, I don't know, I've got to do this again. I've got to do it again. But after 3 or 4 or 5 times,
unconscious,
you just do it and you don't think about it.
And the beauty for me is that partly what we do in these interviews is, of course, we hopefully make it so much easier for people to get to the conscious competence stage where they are effective and efficient and productive through listening to somebody else's version of making those mistakes so they don't have to make them.
Yeah, absolutely true. Yeah. And I think the second problem that people have when it comes to recording themselves is they don't like to see themselves on video.
Or hear themselves. They just don't like it.
Yeah.
And my greatest tip for that, and especially like if you're doing a lot of Facebook Lives, if you're doing a lot of video recording, even if you're doing like a lot of Zoom calls, I'm going to give everybody like a super easy, fun tip, right? And that is to buddy up with somebody and to get an app called Marco Polo.
I love Marco Polo.
I know, right?
Oh my God, it's so much fun.
Yeah. So Marco Polo is like video, it's like video voicemail.
Yeah.
Is maybe the best way to describe it. It's like video walkie-talkies or video voicemail.
But it's really fun.
It is fun. It is fun. But what it does is it starts to desensitize you to talking to yourself into a camera.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you know, and you start to learn, I have to look at the lens. I have to look at the lens. Stop looking at myself. Stop looking at myself. So that's my tip for kind of getting over that. And then I do want to tell everybody, like, if you do Facebook Lives, a lot of people don't know this. So I'm a big hack and tip person. So I'll just drop these as we go along.
Love that.
If you
I'm like,
Oh, good. Oh, good. Yeah. So if you want to do Facebook Lives, but you're not very comfortable with it and you want to kind of do some practice runs, people panic because they go, I can't practice a Facebook Live, but you can. Because when you do a Facebook Live, you can choose to publish that Facebook Live only to yourself.
Yes.
So when you're on doing, and maybe you guys have already know, I'm sure you guys know this already, but a lot of people don't know that like who your posts are visible to is right there. So if you're wanting to get a bit of practice, do a Facebook Live, but only publish it to yourself.
And we do that.
Yeah.
And we also say to people, because we've
Yeah.
got some training on how to do Facebook Lives, we say actually set up a private group.
Yeah.
Live stream instead, because one of the things that people get fuffled about
Yeah.
is when they get comments and they're doing it on their phone and they don't know how many comments they can see,
Yeah.
how to respond. So as well as getting
Great point.
comfortable, we do just set up a small private Facebook group, invite us or your friends in.
Yep.
Again,
You've
it's
got
that buddy. It's that buddy app.
Yeah.
You know, sort of like
Yeah.
if you find a buddy, you know, sort of. So we've got one, and especially. You know, you're obviously well versed in this, but occasionally we will do a little rehearsal run with somebody just so that they go, oh, okay,
Yeah.
it's not as bad as I thought it was
Yeah.
going to be.
If
And
someone's
it's
never
that,
used Zoom before,
Yeah.
we'll do that
Yeah.
first of all and show
Yeah.
them live.
your first is your worst.
Exactly. And then the other one is just to, other challenges they face things like, I don't understand, I don't have the equipment, so I don't do it because I don't have all this equipment. And, there's all kinds of strategies to overcome that, right? Your packing lists and, trying to do with as little as possible. I have a standard video setup I take with me everywhere.
Yeah, great.
And I'm sure many people will want to know what that is, but they can contact you for later. But I think when we're working with speakers, and this is the audio visual covers speakers, authors, and coaches, because you just mentioned there that speakers and authors and coaches can be doing Facebook Lives, they can be doing podcasts, they can be doing whatever it might be to get this AV audio video content. But the problems that I see specifically with speakers on stage is sometimes they can't hire or can't afford to have a videography team there.
Yeah.
So they're going, okay, I've got my phone. My iPhone's a really good quality bit of kit, right? So, but then they go, how do I pick up good sound? Even if I put the tripod right next to the stage, the sound quality is not good enough for show reels.
No.
And so they're going, I don't know how I marry the two up of having a microphone that works with a distance away smartphone. And then that's when I was like,
Kelly, people have already tuned out. Just even as you're saying
no,
that.
they're not, because that is a real problem.
No. What I'm saying is that actually gets put in the too difficult box.
Oh,
like
right.
exactly as you're describing it.
Yeah, and that's how I came across you and Steve, right? Because I was like, this is what I've been looking for my speakers for so long, because they're doing smaller gigs, not the big corporate stages where you've got the tech already there. When they're doing the yes groups or the speaker expresses or those types of things, but they want that footage, they had no way of capturing great audio and great visual at the same time without hiring somebody. So that's why I know our audience is going to love what you talk about, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it, right? And audio is, in many instances, by the way, audio is more important than video.
Yeah, I mean, it's anyone who's been on a dodgy video call but can still hear will know that that's true, because actually if you swap those two things over, people just lose it. So rather than keep people at bay, tell us about the invention of Hey Mike and how can it help members?
There you go. And look, a new box.
I know.
Isn't that pretty? That's our new box. There you go. The invention of Hey Mike. Well, you know what? What's that?
Have there been any changes?
Nope, no, we just did new packaging.
Just the box.
See,
Packaging.
Julie, at that point, you should have said yes, because she would have gone and got it.
Yeah. Well, we changed the instruction sheet.
Okay.
That'll do.
Right, that's online.
Right.
No, all right, okay. So Hey Mike, how did Hey Mike come about? Well, the very first prototype of Hey Mike, I created about, I want to say that now we're probably about 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago. I was still in corporate, and I was a director of product marketing. And I was forever talking to my sales teams, and I was doing a lot of presentations, and we didn't have a very big marketing team. And so what I wanted to do was to be able to capture and reuse content.
Right.
Okay.
So I was speaking at trade shows all the time. I've always been speaking. So I was speaking at trade shows all the time, and I was talking about value propositions, and I was talking about sales pitches to my sales teams. And so I needed them to stop asking me to repeat myself. So I needed to capture it so I could go, there's a link so that you can listen to me repeat myself without me using up my time.
Nice.
And so I got very frustrated because, of course, I was speaking in rooms that certainly I was at big trade shows like Oracle Open World, where there's 10,000 or 15,000 people or more. And I was speaking in breakout sessions that had 200 or 300 people. Well, they were not bringing in a video crew.
Yeah.
And they would not allow us to bring in a video crew.
Right.
So in a lot of organizations and a lot of events, you don't even have that option of bringing in your own video crew, because they don't want to compete with their video crew. They don't want to deal with the extra tech hassle.
Mm-hmm.
And so I needed an unobtrusive way to be able to record what was happening well, to record it well. And not surprisingly, right, I do what everybody does. I put my phone in the back of the room, and then I tried it, and it was
Yeah.
I didn't get me speaking, but I got the guy in the back talking about his lunch. Right? And so that was hugely problematic. I couldn't use a wired microphone because I wasn't going to drag, 200 feet of wired microphone through the crowd. And moreover, I wasn't going to spend $500 on my own Wi-Fi pack, and try to set up my own AV crew. I didn't have the technical expertise or the interest in doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
When I had to be focused on presenting, right? The whole thing.
Because it's like,
so yeah. Yep. So I started hacking around, and I put together a prototype of a Bluetooth microphone, and had to go out and source an app that would work with that Bluetooth microphone. And then that was it, really. And I was happy as Larry, right?
Yeah.
I was off doing recordings for my company all the time. I could, when we had a sales day, I would record everybody at the sales day so that we could go back and generate new content from that. And marketing was off writing blogs based on our videos. And it was amazing what we were doing.
And how long ago was this? Tell by this.
About 6 years ago. Yeah. It was a long time ago. And then 3 years ago, give or take, about 3 years ago, actually, no, it's not even that long ago. 2.5 years ago, I'd become a professional speaker, and I was speaking at an event with Steve Clark, who was the co-founder of Hey Mike. And I said, I'm going to record this because I want to give the recording to the attendees.
Right.
It was a CEO group. And Steve said, I wouldn't bother. The audio in this room is terrible. Like, it just echoes. It's no good. And I said, no, it'll be fine because I've got my phone, I've got a tripod, and I've got this microphone. And he was like, I'm sorry, you have a what? And I said, I've got this microphone. And he goes, well, what? Where'd you get that? I want to get one. Where'd you get it? And he has his phone out. And I said, well, I don't, they don't make them. So I guess I could make one for you. And he was like, what do you mean you could make one for me? And I was like, well, I can build one for you. And he was like, okay, there's a lot that we haven't talked about.
I know Steve well. I can imagine.
Yeah. There were some more expletives, right? If you know Steve. So anyway, and he was like, so hold on a minute. You're telling me you made this and that they don't exist? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, tell me why I can't buy this online now. Like, why haven't you sold this? And I said, you know what? I just never thought about it. Right. I create stuff all the time.
And
I am forever like hacking things and sewing things and gluing and prototyping. I mean, the prototype I was using, this is so me, right? The prototype I was using had a safety pin super glued to the back of it, because that's like how I prototype, right? And it had some duct tape around it, you know, like it was literally just for use.
Tell me you have photos of that.
Do you know what? I probably do somewhere. Yeah. But you know, so Steve said, you know what? I think there's an opportunity here. Let's meet. A week later, we met, shook hands, and agreed to take it to market.
Do you know, so what I really love is, and I'm just going to pause this interview and turn it into a different interview entirely, is to actually really say to everyone watching, this is how things get done. What are you taking for granted? The way that Julie basically took it for granted, that's sitting right there, that's needed by so many more, that you've probably already made an assumption is out there in the world, but you just made it kind of work for you. So I love that you are not only have you created something amazing and brilliant, but that you are being a demonstration of the kind of quality of thinking that actually allows people to make the world a better place. And the fact is that most of us are actually sitting on all of those ideas, right? So thank you for being that.
And now example. You can see in this is the actual haymic itself, but you can see with this nifty little clip at the back, that's what's replaced the safety pin.
Yes. And there's a magnet, right? Because you can put a magnet on the back, because if you're wearing a nice blouse or a nice shirt, you don't want to clip it. And depending on where your collar is, right? You don't want it right up next to you, because you can get too much pop when you speak.
But I think it's really good for people to be able to see, actually, if you look at perspective, it's really small and, you know, it works so well. Just to give people, because you were talking then about how you used it in the sales meetings and the CEO group and that. The feedback that you've got from the people over the last 5-6 years that have used it, what are the main ways that people are using the haymic?
It is amazing to me. And many of you will know this, right? As speakers, authors, and coaches, right? That you'll give somebody an idea, or you'll give them a tool, and then they'll come back and they'll tell you 50 ways they've used that thing that you're like, really? Wow, I never thought about that. And, you know, we try to get smarter when our customers tell us. I use it to pin my hair back when I'm doing my makeup. No, just kidding. So of course,
we're going to want to be like thinking about online courses.
For sure. Yeah. So of course it's recording, right? That's first and foremost what its primary purpose is to record. And that's recording you when you're speaking. So, you know, you're on stage and you want to get a recording of that. That's perfect. Same thing if you want to do a course or even recording at home. Now, I'll generally let's lay it all out on the table, right? haymic is the device for, you know, I need to record something at a distance in a noisy environment. That is the primary function. And when you're out and about, if you're at home and you're sitting at your desk, by all means, plug in a microphone. haymic is never going to replace the quality of a wired microphone.
Like a Yeti mic or whatever it might be, right? That's when you've got, there we go. I didn't even know that. But
there's the Yeti mic.
I saw it a moment ago. I'm like, that's sneaky.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I mean, you know, you're going to use the right tools for the right environment for the right job. So that's the first use case, is just recording yourself speaking. And the reason that you record yourself speaking is, yes, so that you can use it for a show reel. But listen, the number one reason is so that you can reuse that content. You can slice up that video and get little 1-minute snippets for Instagram, and you can take it and replay it back and get quotes for Twitter, and you know, you can get your still images for backgrounds, and you know, the list goes on and on. So that's recording you speaking. Here's the other things that people do with it. Second, in fact, this might even be vying for number one, which is that it is the best tool for testimonials. Because if you have just finished speaking.
We use it at the end of our retreat. We go around and they just clip it on. My phone's at the front. That's how we get our testimonials, right?
Yeah. And you guys are in a great position, right? Because of who your audience is. But imagine that you're going to speak to a group of accountants. You put a microphone in front of them. That's it. Game over. They want no part of that Suddenly they have lost the ability to speak. Right. So the beauty of like a haymic when you're doing testimonials is first that you can just, let me just clip that on real quick. it doesn't look like a microphone. It doesn't feel like a microphone. So they just go, oh, okay. And then they completely forget that it's there. And then they just talk, which is exactly what you want. So testimonials are really, really important. Then we get into all the really cool secondary usages of Hey Mike. So here's a couple of great ones. First of all, you can use it to do real-time transcription. So you can use your Hey Mike, and as you're speaking or as you're in a meeting and you want to get notes from that meeting, you can of course just record audio, but you can also go into any one of your notes app, like, you know, your iPhone notes app or your Samsung notes or whatever, and it'll type up everything you say as you say it.
Yeah. So we have
Otter
AI as our transcription service, so it's free. And they do obviously the captions for your Facebook Live and everything else. They do the SRT files. But so you're saying that actually we could use our Otter from what we've captured from our Hey Mike.
I was actually about to say that. I have actually used and imported the audio from said thing and actually put it into Otter and actually set it going. So it's a brilliant way to work with it. That's awesome.
Yeah, and you can do that, but even instead of that, like if you just want a quick kind of text capture of what's happening, you can do it straight to text.
Nice.
You don't even then have to send it to transcription. It's never going to be as good as a transcription service, but you know, for a cheap and cheerful solution, you bet.
Nice.
Then you got, check this out. You can work with an app called Ava. And Ava is a cool partner that we, again, this is the thing where I had no idea. We actually have a huge community, Ava, A-V-A. And it's an app. There's a huge community of people who are deaf and hearing impaired that use Hey Mike. And they use it because with Hey Mike, they can do real-time closed captioning. So as a speaker, I can put a QR code on a screen projector and say, scan this QR code if you would like to read the closed captioning of this talk.
Did not.
I know, right?
Had no awareness of that whatsoever.
That is brilliant.
I
There
need to
are
be telling
so
my
many
conference facilitators about that.
Yes.
Oh my God.
That's so good.
Wow. I put the link to that in the
Yep, absolutely. And they're, I mean, great people, right? So you got Ava as another app that people are doing. So they're doing real-time closed captioning, real-time transcription, audio recording, video recording with audio. I've used it for interviews. There's a great group that are often posting videos for Hey Mike called SUP, which is the Stand-Up Paddleboarding Association or something like that. And they actually take their Hey Mike, they clip it on a paddle, on a stand-up paddle, and then they do paddle interviews.
Brilliant.
And so they stand the paddle between them and they do interviews.
So because I've never done this in an interview, actually, I've never thought about doing this. I suppose we do all of ours on Zoom.
Yeah, we do.
But if I was doing an interview with Helena, if I put my Hey Mike, if I drop it.
On the floor. Yes. No, it's not going to be the best place for it on the floor.
But if I clipped it onto my jumper here, would that be close enough to do an interview with Helena and myself?
Well, yes, it would. So as long as you're within kind of a bubble of a couple of feet, you're fine. Okay. But you'll be louder.
Right.
So what's even better is if you just take your Hey Mike and you just clip it onto a pen. Yeah, Thornton Jekyll was sharing that with me. But anyway, again, this is another one. I got this from a customer. I can do it myself, right? So if you just tap it onto a pen, then you can just hold it.
And then it's going to be even for both of us.
Now it's a microphone.
Yep.
Love
and
it.
If you want to be really cool, this is what kind of hacker that I am. You see
and Julie, I really is it a cardioid in this way or is it Omni?
It's Omni. It's Omni, but within a radius.
Beautiful.
So this is not a great example because I don't know where I put my other battery, but I have a smaller battery that I use.
Yes, on your back.
Well, because I've got you'd have to see it's creative genius around here. Nice. That's what we call that. It's creative genius at work. So you know, this will have a magnet on the back of it. Well, you can take one of your rechargeable batteries. I've got a little one that's round.
Yeah.
Nice, yeah.
Because I never like to carry extra stuff.
Or you
I keep
can stick it
looking
on
because I'm
top.
sure it's around here somewhere. And then you can put a little magnet on it. Yeah.
Brilliant.
And then you can actually just take that guy and then you can just set him
Brilliant.
on the table. And then you've always got your battery because you actually are going to want to keep your phone charged, right? That's a problem that people run into is their phones run out of battery.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, that's another way that you can do it. But I've done interviews with people in like a Costa Coffee, which is so noisy because this is great at blocking out background noise.
Yeah, brilliant noise reduction kind of tool. Julie, I'm complete. If I wasn't sold already, I'm even more sold. I don't even know how I'm going to be more sold. I don't know how that works. So I'm sure that there are people who are now going, I'm sold too, and tech. So what are the tech requirements to use it? You know, sort of like we have an ongoing battle. I'm an Android. She's an iPhone.
Person, right?
Right? Well, that's a whole show in and of itself, isn't it? Android versus Apple, this knockdown fight.
You're on a Dell, we're doing the comments over here on a Mac. You know, it's all good.
There you go. Yeah, so it works with Android or iPhone, and really it isn't about Hey Mike. So that's probably the most important thing to know. So Hey Mike is a bit of tech kit, and Hey Mike, in order for it to do absolutely anything other than just be a really glorified, and frankly it's very light, so very poor paperweight, in order for it to do anything, it's all dependent on the app. Okay. So there is a variety of apps that you can use that support Bluetooth microphones, like Hey Mike, and Hey Mike is the only one that's kind of like a Bluetooth microphone that you kind of wear as a lapel microphone.
Yeah.
So it's really down to the app. So you know, we have an app that we're actually in the process of end of lifing because we are not in the app business, but it is still available, although it's not being supported any longer. So if you run into a problem, we're probably not going to be doing anything with it. And that's called HeyCam. So HEYCAM, HeyCam. And that's only available on iOS, on Apple.
Okay.
For anybody who's actually going to do video, I recommend that you go and get either Movie Pro, and I'll give you links for all of this, either Movie Pro, which is an iOS app, or Filmic Pro. So Filmic Pro, FILMIC Pro. And Filmic Pro is available for Android or for iPhone, and it really is the premier video capture tool for mobile devices.
Great.
And then of course I mentioned the app Ava. You can use your Notes app. So really what it comes down to is Hey Mike will work with absolutely any app or device that supports Bluetooth microphones. It has to be a Bluetooth microphone. Don't make the assumption that because it is a Bluetooth device that means it supports a microphone. For example, you have a big DSLR camera. It's Bluetooth. That doesn't mean Bluetooth microphone. That means Bluetooth file transfer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But I use my Hey Mike with Zoom on my laptop all the time.
Okay.
Amazing.
That's really.
Yep. So it can work with anything that supports a Bluetooth microphone. Now, the question that we always get asked is about Facebook Live. Hey, wait a minute. Why aren't we using this on Facebook Live? Well, the reason is because the Facebook Live app on your mobile phone does not support Bluetooth microphones.
And that's
YouTube Live.
I get it all the time.
It's like,
all the time.
I'd love to use this for Facebook Live.
I would love for you to use it for Facebook Live. But Facebook Live does not. So the Facebook app on your iPhone and on your Android does not support a Bluetooth microphone. It's nothing to do with Hey Mike. We can't change the functionality of their apps, unfortunately.
But what we can do is we could all
write to
Mark
them.
Zuckerberg an email or tweet him or Facebook him or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's right.
Asking for the Facebook app to start allowing Bluetooth microphones.
I'm having a small geeky moment and I'm going to keep quiet, but it has to do with peanuts. I may tell this story a little bit later.
Yeah.
Yes. And the film Serenity, but anyway, it's all
I
good.
love the film Serenity.
Oh my God. So okay, so now I am going to say it because I thought you might be a
Coffee
closet
time.
geek. So here's the thing, like they didn't get funding right for season 2. So what actually happened, the way that Serenity came into being was that there was a throwaway comment around it would cost peanuts. And so many of the fans all sent bags of peanuts through to the studio, and that is how the funding got started for Serenity.
Yes. Such a good show. One of my favorites. Okay. Anyway, I digress.
Everybody ignore it.
So that's the only thing that we want to make sure that people are aware of, that you can't, until Mark decides to change his platform.
Yes.
It won't work with Facebook Live.
But you can send him a message.
But
absolutely,
the way that we get around it is we do our Facebook Lives when we have a guest via Zoom.
Yeah.
Zoom works and streams through that way because Zoom allows the mics. So you can do it that way. There's always a way.
If you're doing a Facebook Live on your computer, it does work.
Yes, exactly.
Because at that point, the app there isn't a Facebook app on your computer. It's just the website. So it actually uses the technology of your computer.
Yeah,
so so that, so YouTube Live works, Facebook Live does not.
Yeah.
That's just like, you just kind of have to test it out and play around with it. And people will ask, what about this app? What about that app? We do try to keep a list of the apps that we know work. We do try to be honest about, like, okay, these are ones we've actually used.
Yeah.
And these are ones that people think work, but may or may not work. It's amazing to me how that happens.
But it is one of those things, back to the kind of the issues and the problems, being a speaker, being an author, being a coach who uses audio in this repurposable way, you find the style that's right for you. You pack your case in the way you like to pack your case. You find the app that's right for you, you find the mic that's right for you, but it just makes sense to do something like this because it's so easy and neat.
And so one of the things that is always, when you're doing that preparation, like you said about, the conscious competence of going on stage and knowing what happens beforehand.
Yeah.
One of the things, whatever device you're using, you just need to make sure you have enough storage.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to be on stage for an hour, that's quite a lot of footage. So therefore, all these things need to be thought of beforehand, because you're limited on whatever device you're using has the capacity of what it's going to be able to store.
Yeah, completely.
So make sure that you have that RAM storage.
And that is just down to the systems that you actually have. So when you come off of stage, do you plug something in? Do you pull it off straight away? Do you put it in that folder, etc.? Right?
And do you know those apps that you've mentioned, including the HeyCam? Is there any not model, but system or software that won't work before an iPhone, whatever, or whatever type of
No, and it's really, it's pretty flexible. And in fact, what I will say is, if you have a phone and you're like, I don't know if it's got enough this, or if I don't want to use my phone, go buy a second phone or even an iPod Touch and use that solely for recording.
Nice.
Okay.
So for example, I use an iPhone, but I own a Galaxy S8.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you do the
which, by the way, has an amazing camera on it.
Oh, the camera on that's my phone.
Yeah, I know, right? Because it has an amazing camera.
Okay.
So I can use this Galaxy S8, I only use it for video. And it has an SD card.
And yeah. Again, let's not get into the discussion, but there's a reason.
But you don't have to worry about that, because this has 512 gig of memory on it. So on my iPhone that I use every day, this is how I'm like a peacemaker.
I love that Julie is actually mediating between the two of us, even though she's like way over in the States and we're sat in the same room together.
Fine.
Yeah.
Which is
good. So you can get a device that you use solely for that purpose. And you're right, memory is the #1 challenge, and the second one is battery. Yeah. I've had more people, like, oh, it turned off while I was recording. Can I get that video back? And I'm like, no, because your phone wasn't on. Like, we're not that good. So, so what I always do is I always take my phone, and if I'm going to record anything, even if it's not very long, recording video eats battery.
Yeah.
Like it's its job. That's one of my favorite lines from a friend of mine, right? Nora Burns. She, it uses battery like it's its job. So I always have my portable batteries.
Mm-hmm.
I always have my phone plugged in when I'm recording.
Yeah.
So that I never have to make, again, it comes down to what can you put in place that means that you don't have to worry about it.
Yes,
we love that.
every time.
And then again, when we talk about the apps, be very aware that the apps that you use. So for example, Hey Mike doesn't work with the standard video app at all. Not on an iPhone, not on an Android. It does not, those apps do not support a Bluetooth microphone. So of course you have to use a secondary video app. You should use a secondary video app anyway, because they give you so many more controls and options about how you go about recording video, including the size of the files that you're recording.
And the editing and all that type of stuff.
Well, I mean, editing's a whole nother thing, right? I'll give you a link to my favorite video editor on the phone, which is actually my favorite video editor, full stop.
Okay.
But that's exactly it. So if you don't have a ton of memory on your phone, then you can go in there and go, yeah, do you know what? I actually just want to record this at 50% quality, or at 100% quality, or I don't need 4K.
Just I'm doing it for feedback. I just want to see what it's like. I don't need to use it.
Or I'm doing it to repurpose the talk so that I can give it to the marketing people or whatever it is, right?
Yep. But just to give you kind of a ballpark, like a 1 hour video is probably going to take up, just on average, and it all depends on the device and everything else, but just assume that that's probably going to take up about 1 to 1.5 gig of memory for a 1 hour video.
And that's really good advice. So when people can actually look at their phone storage before they go to film and actually see the capacity, at least they know what to expect.
That's
right.
Well, tell them to test it, right? They can do a really quick test by recording a video that's an hour long, sitting at their desk. Just put their phone on, put a timer. Does it last for an hour?
Yeah.
And then delete that video, and you've got at least an hour's worth of footage of it, recording available.
Nice.
We really appreciate your time. I know that you're busy in between your mass speaking gigs. So I've put the links up. I'll do it again. I've put the links up so people can connect via your website. I've also put the links up to the lovely Love Hey Mike website so people can get theirs. Just so people know, how much does it cost? We know.
I should know that, shouldn't I?
I bought it when it was like the first week. I was in your
I know, and we love you for that. Well, here's what I'll tell you. So it's about 100 pounds. So it's about 100 pounds, and I will tell you that I have set up a coupon code specifically for you.
Oh, bless you.
That coupon code is Speaker Insight.
Yay.
So capital S Speaker, capital I Insight, all one word.
So say that again, hon. Is it lowercase or uppercase?
Capital S Speaker, capital I Insight, no spaces.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And that'll give everybody an extra 15% off. And so they can only use that coupon through our direct website. Because of course you can buy this on Amazon as well. So it's loveheymike.com is the website where they can go to buy it and use that coupon code.
And it's not, I just looked at it, it's £93.
Yeah.
There you go. Yep, 93 pounds.
Oh, just saying
plus VAT.
Yeah.
Plus VAT.
Yes.
Good old VAT. Let's not forget good old VAT. Oh, and by the way, for everybody that says, why can't it already include VAT on the price? Because we don't know where you are until you tell us.
Exactly. And it's all good.
Yeah. So, and of course you can get it on Amazon. It's in about 35 different countries now.
Wow.
Which is amazing.
That's awesome.
Like for something that you cobbled together because you had a need and you were fixing problems, that just says everything. And I love that collaboration between you and Steve, just around that conversation that said, hey, there might be something in this, right? How amazing.
And as a Hey Mike user myself, I've learned stuff from the apps that you've shared. So I really appreciate. I know a lot of people here, like Sudha saying she bought when it was first launched. So I'm sure the people that are already your users are going to learn stuff from being on this live, just from the tips that you've given about how to prepare as a speaker, all those pre-planning stuff, as well as the apps. So we really appreciate your time, darling. And
my pleasure.
Wow.
And next time you're in London.
Yeah.
Always. I'm always looking for an excuse to come back to London.
We like it a little bit of that. Thank you so much.
Have a great one. Enjoy.
Bye.
See everyone.